as we can see, youth work is getting spotlights like the more and more, and it's very important also to rise up our voices. So this is crucial, and democracy is getting a new perspective on this, as we can see with the new geopolitical turnouts. It's very crucial also to rebuild democracy from a local perspective. That's what DYPALL has been doing for a very long time. And we said, why not having something like this also for local youth councils? But this time, with a different perspective and only focusing on local youth councils. Why it is important? It's important because youth, like young people, are not there only to talk about youth initiatives or youth-related topics. So they have right to talk about lots of other things at the same time. So why seniors can talk about whatever they want, and why that's not the case for young people. So it's a crucial point. And local youth councils can give this opportunity, and this network can create actually a new advocacy for local youth councils to have more legitimacy also while we are tackling with geopolitical and political um, problems. So this is very important. We should keep it in mind. And also we talk about tokenism and all these kind of things. It's also crucial to ask a little bit more. So not only we are waiting from international institutions or like, let's say, bigger authorities to tell us what to do and how to do, but also it is important for us to ask always more and to decide. If we don't decide, we will be part of the table that they are going to decide on us. So it is crucial. We need to be more bold, actually, and we need to ask always more. And hopefully, these new local youth councils network can create this bridge between us. Yeah. So thank you so much, and I pass.
Thank you, Bilal.
Thank you.
For the opening words. I'll have the pleasure to pass to Nina, the chair of the Advisory Council on Youth.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Nina, pronouns she, her, and I'm the chairperson of the Advisory Council on Youth. So the Advisory Council on Youth is a statutory body of the Youth Department of Council of Europe's, in Council of Europe, which means that we are a group of 30 young people representing different civil society organizations, co-deciding policy recommendations and program for the youth department at the Council of Europe level. And then you can maybe wonder, why am I then here to be talking with you? And it's for several different reasons. And that's because working on issues at the European level can never be separated from any other level and the local level, and they all communicate. So that's what a bit I want to mention today. And I would really love to thank first and foremost the DYPALL network and their steering group for having put so much effort and organized this initiative and starting the important work. As Bilal has already mentioned, the state of democracy that we find ourselves in different places is not always easy, and we can see very different political movements everywhere. So in Council of Europe, we have been, as the three pillars of it say, trying to work with democracy, human rights, and rule of law. But then it is very abstract to think that that happens only at this European level that is maybe so far removed from us. And it's very important to see what that actually means, and that it means translating it to all the different levels. What we can see, and we can see it because we're all here now, but then there's such a big history of that, of the need that there is to connect those young people working on different topics related to democracy, to human rights, to their conditions and their needs on a local level as well. So recently we had this conference in Braga that was one part of a consultative process of revising a charter on young people's participation in local and regional life that has a very big emphasis of putting young people as somebody who's empowered and in charge and who should influence local and regional policies and politics and decision making. But this didn't start just there. I would also like to remind us that 3 years ago, there was this call for action that was adopted by 450 young people in Strasbourg, call for action on how to revitalize democracy. And then actually the first call to action was to create independent and youth-led youth councils and to support them in every municipality, in every Council of Europe member state, because participation in decision-making is a cornerstone for both democracy and human rights. And I like to go back to that because I think it's very important to understand that processes are not always fast. And so this was in 2022, and we are having this meeting now. But that means there's been a lot of work for many different actors in the meantime. And there are a lot of great networks for youth organizations at a European level, but nothing of such sort for local youth councils. And I think it's very important to understand that, as I already said, yeah, our work cannot just be vertical, and that there's so much more power in how local youth councils can work if they connect horizontally as well and share best practices, communicate, map out which are the difficulties, and then advocate together for this to change. And this is a very cool thing that it's happening this year, because I can see that there's a lot of different developments in Europe this year that are related to young people. So one of them I've already mentioned is this revision of the charter. Then there's also this framework that we are developing for youth perspective to be actually integrated in the work of Council of Europe and the member states. So that's coming more, something more from top up. But it means that there is a bit of a political will that we have to continue working on and maintaining it there to have our voices heard. That is one of the most important things. As already Bilal said, young people's issues are not just those that people traditionally think of, but it's very important that we have strong networks of local youth councils that can influence different topics of policies, because all different topics of policies concern us. And I think that with this initiative that you have here today, that I think resonates on so many levels with all of us working on young people's participation, is such an exciting development. So thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, very happy to listen further, and to wish you the best in developing this great network.
Thank you, Nina. For us, I think it's very important that we have also the institutions and the Advisory Council on Youth, the Council of Europe. I think is a reference on what is the youth policy within Europe and beyond, because I think is considered, and it's not just that is considered one of the best practices in terms of really having young people involved in decision making, but is an inspiration for other models on national, on regional, and on local level, where young people really have a say and they can really influence decisions and build solutions together with our politicians, with our decision makers. So it's very, this I think is one side that is important, is this model that for us is a reference, but also all the work that you're doing in the topic of democracy that is fundamental on the days that we are living. And we hope that this initiative is not, it doesn't want to be an initiative that runs alone. It has to be connected with other institutions, with other efforts. So thank you very much for your presence here in this event. The first point was why another network, why an European network of local councils. And as Nina was saying, still at the European level, there was not a network of local youth councils. But at least from the side of DYPALL and DYPALL Network, and maybe I didn't introduce DYPALL Network, basically we are a network of municipalities and local civil society organizations that focus on the topic of youth participation in decision making. So youth participation is a very broad scope, but we really focus on how are young people influencing public policy making, especially looking at this local level when we are made from municipalities and NGOs. And recently, since June, we open also to research institutions, universities that can bring also this research angle and this focus on the thematic that we are working. But from our side, it was not so much the logic of developing another network. I think there is many networks, but was mainly coming from different moments that we were having, working directly with local youth councils. And our work on this topic started some years ago because we recognized that local youth councils that are very known. It's a model of youth participation that is quite mainstream across Europe and beyond. It's a model that is recognized by institutions, by our politicians. It's something that they can imagine when somebody says, okay, we would like to develop a local youth council, they can imagine. But the reality is that their formats are very diverse. In some countries, there is a national law that establishes them, that says how they should be formed or not. Even in countries that there is a law, sometimes they are very different from each other, also to respond to local needs. And some countries, they don't have a legal framework. They're very diverse, and this is not bad in some aspects. But we decided to start to map different models, how they were working, how they are working, how they are impacting in public policy, what kind of resources they were needing. So we started 2022 with this mapping of local youth councils. 2023, we had another project. These were financed, some by the Council of Europe, some of activities, others by the European Union, by the Commission. And we developed a quality charter that was an assessment tool, but we were having different projects that were supporting. One of the last ones was this local youth councils analysis that was also mapping around Europe, because again, the diversity is very big and we can always learn with these different examples, how they are working, how they're structured, and above all, how they are impacting policy or not. Some are more educational, so preparing people to understand democracy, others and to practice, but others are more into the decision-making process of really to influence public policy. Last year, and this was a call that we had on the study visit that was organized with different youth councils, and we have seen some colleagues that I saw entering from Klaipeda municipality and from Visny, and we went together with local youth councils from Portugal. We also went to Norway, and it was mainly youngsters that were participating in these study visits. And what they highlighted, especially to the managers, to the people from the different organizations, was that they don't find their peers. They don't find moments to really exchange how they are working, what they are doing, what kind of activities, what are also their struggles, but really to get inspired from each other. So what they highlighted was that we feel that there is a need to have a platform, to have moments of encounter, of exchanging, of meeting, of getting inspired, of making friends. We started to have several activities. We had then in January another study visit to Klaipeda in Lithuania. Then we had a training course focusing on the development of local youth councils, Educate for Democracy. We had a study session supported by the Council of Europe in Strasbourg, that also the majority, 90% of the participants were members of local youth councils. And also here we had a huge diversity, was over, I think, or close to 30 participants, but over 20 local youth councils. Was quite big, the number of local youth councils that we were having contacts along these activities. And in last December, so quite recently, we implemented a training course for the quality development within the Winter Democracy Academy. That is an annual event we organize in Lisbon, but it's just already focused on local youth councils. Also to thank, and Afonso is here with us, different colleagues that were supporting these activities. They were always doing some kind of mapping of needs, of discussing with the different participants of what this network could serve, what would be the purpose and the needs, and mapping also challenges. So one of the things that were mapped was that there was still a reduced capacity for international cooperation among local youth councils. Okay, sometimes even within the country, they are not finding moments and spaces to meet. Also here with us, we know that we have some platforms that are supporting national youth councils on national level. And we started to also to be in touch with them, because we believe that within this network, they can have a specific and also important functions, because in most of the countries, we don't have national networks that are supporting local youth councils. In some exist national youth councils, or in most of our countries exist national youth councils that sometimes, not always, or rarely, to say, they are also supporting the local youth councils, but in some cases, the national youth councils are also supporting the development of the local youth councils. But in some countries, there is even platforms that are gathering the local youth councils, but this is not something that exists in most of the European countries. And some colleagues that joined the launching event are also having this function. And I thank you for also doing this role, because I think it's very important. But meeting on international level was also not something so frequent. So this was one of the things that was mapped. Then was the need of tools and resources to enhance local youth councils' effectiveness. How they are being managed, what kind of activities, what kind of resources, how they are following the decisions that they're taking, are they impacting policy or not? What kind of training do they do for their members? What kind of trainings do they exist for the people that are managing these structures? So what kind of support we are having? Need to increase the capacity to influence local and European policies. And again, in these points, we saw that a big number, I cannot say the majority, because again, it's a mapping that we didn't do. We didn't map all, so we can never say this. But from the ones that we have been mapping, the majority have more an educational role than a decision making. When I say educational role, and the education role is fundamental, that young people practice, they exercise, they experience such kind of processes. But again, we believe that young people should have, as Bilal was saying, should have a voice, should have an influence in many communities. They represent 15-20% of the population, and when we go to see how they are represented on the People's Assembly, on the municipality executive bodies, they are really low. If we go to talk about the national parliaments, we could also do this exercise, and most of the countries are quite low. So their level of influences in terms of policy making, it's quite low, and we really believe that they have really interesting solutions. It's not that is just their right, definitely it's their right, but I think it's also, they can bring a really added value. And the local youth councils could have also this role. And this is connected with this last point, that was this limited representation on youth in decision making. Also to connect with Nina was highlighting, also in European level, young people are organized different ways, through different kind of umbrella organizations. But local youth councils, usually, if they don't go through their national youth councils, they have little to say. And I think all institutions, they recognize the importance to start to have links that are directly connecting young people at the local level between Europe, the more global processes, and this local dimension. In terms of expected results, one is to increase the influence of the local youth councils, okay, and their influence not just on European policy-making process, but especially and above all at the level that they are active at local level, so how they are impacting public policy. One is to support the quality development, and what this means, again, there is a lot of instruments, some to assess, some to evaluate, some to try to increase the visibility and the communication and the outreach, because usually also sometimes some structures, they close themselves, and they are not so well linked with the community or the young people from the community. So what kind of resources and instruments and tools we have that can increase the quality of our structures? The third dimension, things, is to contribute to the recognition of local councils. Some are already having a huge impact. So how can we work on the impact and the recognition of this structure? Here, what we have reached so far, and I have to also to tell that the launching for the manifestation of interest for organizations to join was launched very recently. So it was launched, I think, on the 4th or the 5th of February. So I think 15 days maximum that this open call for demonstration of interest to join is out there. We had 24 countries and over 35 local youth councils already that demonstrated the interest to join the network. But we believe that also now with your support, the ones that are here, that they can spread, and after seeing if it's relevant or not and assessing and discussing with their colleagues, I think our outreach can be a lot bigger. And maybe now would be a moment to open here to a short exercise. I'm going to try to create some breakout rooms. Basically, we'll have around 10 minutes to be in small groups of 7-8 people. And what we'll try to ask you is to also discuss two dimensions. What is your expectations? What you think this network could contribute? And the other point is also what kind of activities you would like to see. For some people, it's also nice to think about activities. So basically, and we'll just do a bit of a short overview of here. So again, to sharing best practices on how to engage with decision makers could be something that we could see. Reaching out to diverse participants was also something that was highlighted, but making friends, making connections, creating partnerships, but also to work specifically with different European projects, getting tools, these connections between the national dimension, but also with national youth councils in your own countries, job shadowing, so we could see from expectation, but to already a lot of concrete ideas in terms of activities from study visits. And while most of the group were in the breakout rooms, one of the colleagues that just joined was saying that she's from Portugal, from Valongo municipality, and she was now in Poland, in the city that will not try to pronounce the name unless she wants to try, and sharing how much inspired, and it's just the first day, but how much inspired from the local youth council that she's observing. So to find really moments, so from online events, webinars, in terms of activities, so to learn as much as possible. So, but also to this connection with the municipality. How can we be listening? But again, a lot, and this was quite repeating, to share good practices among local youth councils, so to share the tools and the best practice, so much that we can learn and get inspired from each other. Support system, material, strategy, frameworks. So a lot of different dimensions that has been shared here in terms of activities, but also concretely in terms of experience, a lot focusing on these creating spaces for peer learning and exchange. And here we could already see some aspects that you highlighted. So between 97.8, almost every local youth councils wanted to have international peer-to-peer exchange moments. So have moments that they can really exchange with their peers. They can really be with their colleagues and see different models, different tools, but to have this dimension of the international moments to meet. Almost 90% of having study session and training courses, so focusing on the capacity building, something more precise, more specific on different topics. But also the number of local youth councils that demonstrated the need or the interest to participate in the European and international advocacy process. And I remember of seeing one post-it that was also highlighted this, so how to connect with these processes and to be able to contribute, as for example, now the process that is still ongoing, this revised charter on regional youth participation, as many other processes. Very soon we'll be starting to work on the future of what is the European Youth Strategy. Then what they shared, gain more knowledge, networking, impact and opportunities. And here was knowledge on different legal frameworks, on how the local youth councils are being managed, the models of practice, how they are really in practice working, and because the diversity is quite huge, and we can always take a couple of angles and a couple of tips. Networking, connecting with peers, this cross-border collaboration, the impact on local development, this having these young voices having more influence, impacting local public policies, but also the European public policy, and then opportunities for study sessions, training course, job sharing, exchange. So this quite align with what I think we were discussing, or at least was visual in the post-its. Bilal, maybe you could share a bit this dimension of the benefits of joining.
So first of all, it's very nice each time when we do something, we're expecting like a couple of people or like a certain amount of people, then we have always a little bit more than this. So it gives us also the opportunity to see how much it is important actually to have this network. So, okay, as you can see here, we have a couple of listing things, yeah? So I can go by one, but also, which is very important, is that it's very important to keep it active. As long as this network is active, we can reach these ones actually, regardless of if we have 1 or 10. But if you are not active, then actually it doesn't matter how much effort we put in it. So that's why. So first one is be very active. And once we are very active, we can also improve each other's skills and capacities by coming together doing lots of different things that Bruno just mentioned. But also the idea of this network is not to give something to you, to our members, but also to create a space for our members to create other projects. So like this, we can have lots of effect, and you can be much more effective. So communication is the key, but this communication will be really expert-based also, like finding trends and opportunities we are going to share within the group, and also facilitate local youth councils' impact on democracy discourses. which means that like we do something and we don't stay there. We go a little bit further. Okay, we said this, we did this project, we created, we organized the conference. What was the outcome? How did it resonate actually with international organizations, European level of organizations? This is also very important to know where we are. And then, of course, it must be inclusive and also geographically representative. Like us, we can also reach different kind of examples, like as many as examples that we can, so we don't exclude anyone outside. So, and then we promote our networking and the exchange of ideas, of course. And the last one, which can be really, really important, the idea is to influence policy agendas through collaborative advocacy, which means that we are not doing something, let's assume it, but someone else is doing something at international level. They're about to take a decision, and then we seize this opportunity, and then we say, okay, so we are here, you should listen to us. We have, let's say, I don't know, 30 different local youth councils coming from 20 countries or much more. And this is also very important to constantly actually knock their doors and saying that we are here. So this is important. Yeah. To wrap up, it's very important to stay active. And for this, we won't hesitate to harass you also and to put you in contact. And it's very important. And I think this launching event is a nice starting point of this. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Bilal. Coming steps, and just to disclosure here, the aim of the DYPALL network is to support the development of this network during 1 year, during 2 years. But our aim is that then it works alone. So it's something that we are supporting this initiative. We decided to create a working group that will have members of local youth councils, because this came and it's because of them. Okay, so a strong representation of local youth councils, but also one thing that we realize is that the people managing, and sometimes they're municipality staff, sometimes there's even an NGO that is supporting these kind of processes, they also need support. Okay, so we would also have a couple of representatives that are from the institutions that are supporting these bodies. And the third element that we'll be bringing to this working group to help us to structure, to develop here the model and the governance and also the activities and what is going to be the future of this network are the representatives of the national platforms that are supporting this kind of structures. So the continuation of the outreach, again, we'll continue and we'll ask your support to reach more local youth councils. This because we want to do then a serious mapping exercise. And when I say this is serious mapping exercise, it's really to, and we have, again, a lot of publications that were checking different models of how it works, but we want also not to see the modus operandi, but also see the challenge that they are facing, the impact and the level of impact in public policy. So to try to have a characterization and analysis of the situation of local youth councils across Europe. Institutional partnerships is something that, unfortunately, the institutions have shown the interest and have shown also the willingness to support this initiative, and we would like to continue to have them very closely involved. Again, it's not to duplicate efforts, it's to complement, it's really to bring an added value to what we are doing. There will be also an online platform. Now we have basically a landing page, but we'll have an online platform. Fortunately, we got a project granted together with NUVA. I don't know if any representative of NUVA. NUVA is the platform of the local youth councils in Finland. And we'll be working together with creating a platform where it can be a repository of tools, resources, where we can have some forums. So different features will be there to support local youth councils. But then in terms of activities, we are trying to have already for this year, for the first semester, an international youth exchange among local youth councils members. So we are trying to, with a partner from Italy, to confirm that they already saw their availability to organize this. So just we need to confirm the dates, but this is directly for young people, for them to have spaces to meet, exchange. We'll have a training course for quality development of local youth councils. So here, again, young people, but also managers of these kind of structures. That will be in the University on Youth in Development. That will be in Spain in September. We already have also a granted project from the Council of Europe that will be in Strasbourg, a study session as local youth councils and advocates for democracy. So these are already 3 activities that we know that we have granted and can be implemented this year. This in terms of in-person residential activities. Then again, together with a working group, we're going to create an activity plan with online activities and so on. But hopefully there will be more opportunities coming and being shared. But one of the things that we also aim is to create spaces of exchange directly among the local youth councils that they can generate their own activities. So they can organize bilateral study visits. They can organize youth exchanges, many different things that can be organized just by creating a space of sharing, showing interest and networking, because the aim is that it's not centralized in ENLYC and in our capacity at the moment, but is really foster among the network these opportunities and that they are shared. But I'll pass the word to Ruxandra and then to Sina from the Youth Forum just to close our here online event. And thank you again for your presence.
Thank you, Bruno. Very nice to see a lot of people that I know and that I've seen very recently as well in Braga. I would like to just to reiterate the Council of Europe's support to this initiative. I think we're all very happy to see it start taking shape. What we would also like to see is cooperation between various partners who take a role in this. And that's why we also welcome that that DYPALL takes a leading role in this network, but that there is the support of the forum and so on and so forth. And I hope that early next year, probably if all falls into place, we could have such a discussion with many of the stakeholders. I heard a lot in terms of advocacy, and just one single reflection before ending. It's just that we focus a lot on advocating on youth policy or youth-related programs. But I would like to recall that local youth councils are associated with municipalities, and there is a whole program and policy that looks at local and regional development. And that, I think, is an opportunity to advocate that maybe other youth organizations or other, some of your peers do not necessarily have. And I think it should not be taken, it should not be ignored as well. And with this, I stop. I think we'll follow very closely also with DYPALL. These are regular partners of ours, so you will hear from us for sure, and we'll support the outreach effort.
Thank you, Ruxa. Thank you for your kind words and also for opening for also this cooperation and this working together on this direction. And definitely a lot needs to be done in terms of also making local youth councils aware that they have channels. Sina?
Sure. Thank you, Bruno. I think I don't even want to say much. I just want to say thank you so much to DYPALL for starting this really interesting initiative. At the Youth Forum, we also think that it can have a really good potential of enhancing the work of local youth councils and the existence of local youth councils. And of course, we are hoping it will work really well in combination with the upcoming charter. And happy to continue to follow and support this process, and of course create connections with European youth capitals and also our members like national youth councils. Of course, here the focus is different, but we are hoping we can create the effective connections as well. So looking forward to how it develops further.
Thank you, Sina. And thank you everyone also for being present. I'm just going to leave you here a last slide where you can find the website with some more information, but also the form that is still open to show the interest to join the European Network of Local Youth Councils. And And with this, we managed to finish with 1 minute delay, but we still, I would say, still on time. And thank you again. I need to thank also all my colleagues from the DYPALL network, from the steering group, also that supported also all this exhaustive mapping and discussing these documents and kicking off the network. And hopefully, with the resources that we have that are limited, we'll continue supporting the first. I hope that is just the first steps of this new network that has a big potential, as you could see from the colleagues from the Council of Europe, the Advisory Council on Youth, and from the European Youth Forum, all highlighting the importance of such a network and that we can build it together. So thank you very much for your presence, and also help us to spread, to reach out to more local youth councils, and you'll get to know from us quite soon, with opportunities to join activities, but also to collect information from you, and to kick off this platform. Thank you very much for joining this launching event.